So
But
thank
let's let everybody experience this. If the two of you would, with my coaching here, just do the exercise. If she
yeah.
can start, you say, "Do you like me? Do you love me? Do you want to be with me? Am I beautiful?" And just feel the energy as he just responds in a positive way.
Do you like me?
Yes, I do.
Do you love me?
Yes, I do.
Um,
With all my heart.
That's the next question. How much do you love me?
yeah, okay, that threw me off. How much do you love me?
With all my heart.
Do you think I'm beautiful?
Absolutely.
You feel the energy? It's
Yeah.
very powerful energy. So
Hey, everybody. Our mission here at the Heart Coherence Collaborative is to get people in touch with the healing power of the heart.
And we really need your help. Right now, only 1% of viewers subscribe. We are aiming to take that number to 6%.
The reason why we want to do that is the more people that subscribe, the more people in the world can learn the magical practice of heart coherence.
So please help us out. If you ever listened, if you love this message, please just take a moment to subscribe.
Thank you so much.
We love you.
Just need you to unmute, John. We can't hear you. Welcome, everybody, to the Heart Coherence Collaborative. We are honored to have the man, the myth, the legend, John Gray, the relationship expert, joining us today. A man who I've gained so much wisdom from reading all his books, and he's really helped in our relationship. And today, really excited, we're going to be talking a little bit about sex. And so Leah, I know, has a question to start off with.
Yeah. And if you wanted to start, John, just to talk about, I feel like everybody does know you. So if you just would start and say what it is that you love and what you're passionate about, especially, in more recent times.
well, people know me as the author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. It was a big sensation in the 90s. It continues to be a very popular book. It continues on. I used to be on TV all the time, so people recognized me and knew me. I haven't been on TV in 25 years. I do some podcasts here and there, and I'm really happy to be with you guys. I've written several books. You can see many of them behind me. But today, if you want me to talk about sex, we'll be talking about a lot of material from my book, Mars, Venus in the Bedroom. And I take a bit of a different spin on it. I'm more focused on using sex as a tool to feel more love and to then make more love. I think that if you're not having sex to make love, that it becomes a sensational experience that dies out very quickly. And I approach all of this as my opinion, what I've seen to work, and teaching these ideas for over, let's say I'm 73 now, it was 30, for over 43 years I've been teaching. I started out before talking about how men and women are different. I talked about how men and women are different in sex. I had come from being a celibate for 9 years, a celibate monk. And then after ending that part of my life, I just had to try out sex and interviewed a lot of women about before having sex with them, what they liked and what they wanted. And then I realized women all had a lot of different stuff, but also very different from me. So I didn't know a lot. And I thought, well, a lot of other guys haven't interviewed women on sex, so they'd also appreciate this. And women could understand, uh, why men ignore some of women's needs. So they just don't know. So we have to learn how to communicate about it. And that can be challenging. I remember the first time I was not the first time, but one time I'm making love with my wife in the beginning of the relationship. And she said, "Well, don't do that." And I was like, whoa, you have no defenses. Ultimately, if we look at some of the challenges with men and women in relationships, women particularly don't like men telling women how they should feel and how they should not feel. And men particularly don't like women telling them what to do and not do. And the closer you are, the more we feel those things. If it's a stranger and they say, "Oh, John, you shouldn't do that," I say, "Well, I'll think about it." But if it's your wife, you should do this. You can take it more personally because if she's correcting you, saying you should do this, the man typically will go back, "Well, I've been doing it wrong all this time." Imagine reading my book and a man learning about a woman's clitoris, who some men never were taught about women's clitoris. And she said, "Well, there's this spot here that you've missed for 15 years. It makes me really good, feel good." that he could feel like a failure. So it's a very delicate thing. And part of what sex is where we can be most transparent, we can be most vulnerable, we can be most open. So we have no defenses to put up, so we don't take things personally. In sex, it's all personal in marriage and when you're making love. So you have to be very delicate about how we talk about it.
So, what I would love to start off and ask you is, you say that men connect to love through sex and that women connect to sex through love. So my question is, it kind of could leave you at a standstill. So what do both people do when they're feeling disconnected to ultimately get to that connection, since there's that?
Yeah. What we're talking about is what used to be called the war of the sexes. I certainly experienced it in my marriage, which is having a good sex relationship, okay, a loving relationship. And then I would sit down in my office here and I'd write a whole book. And pretty much getting the book out was a 1 month process of 12 to 16 hours, sometimes 18 hours a day. I'm more of an intense kind of guy. And so during that time, obviously, she's feeling neglected. Now, having finished the first part of writing a book, then you have to edit it and put it all together. But having done that first, writing it out, I just feel like I've been doing a marathon, like one of those Olympic runners that runs for the longest distance. And I'm coming in first place, and I'm coming into the arena, and 10,000 people are cheering for me. I mean, that's such an exalted feeling when you've had a huge 1 month process of trying to get to the end, and ups and downs and good, not good. It's a war. It's for me to write a book. You've got to correct. That's wrong. That's not right. How are we going to do that? This doesn't make sense. Who's going to listen to that? There's a whole big journey that goes on inside of me when I write one of these things. And then it's not all just writing out what I feel. I'm constantly thinking, I have to. It is Mars, Venus. How are women going to take this? How men are going to take this? What's realistic? What's practical? What are they going to do? How advanced are they? So a lot goes into it. The point is, I'm done, and I feel like I'm the king. I mean, I triumphed, the Olympic star. And I go upstairs, and my wife hasn't hardly talked to me much during the whole time. And I say, let's have sex. And she's like, whoa, hold on here, boy. And she said, we need to get reacquainted. Reacquainted? What are you talking about? I'm your husband. I just worked hard. I'm doing all this for you. And she goes, well, I'm proud. I admire your strength and you're doing this. I'm grateful for all that. But for me to have sex, I need to feel connection. I need to feel that we've been together for a while. And that was so frustrating for me because I'm like at the peak of readiness and she's at the lowest part of readiness. And so a lot of ways we handled this and solved this problem. But it was, and we went through it many times. I've got a lot of books. I've trying to figure it out. But it was but sexual rejection is a big deal to men. Okay, just understand, he's in the mode, and it's literally and I'm not implying that you shouldn't reject him. Okay, you have to have solutions around it where you can't do what you don't want to do. Ultimately, most enlightened type guys don't want to have sex with their wives if their wives don't want to have sex. Okay, so and let's just put that in a context of how amazing modern men are. Okay, because if you go back 100 years ago and look at the literature and so forth, men had sex with their wives, whether their wives wanted it or not. Women they felt it was their duty. And you always have to satisfy that need inside of a man. And you should just do that. And men were very happy about that. And so they had sex with their wives, even when their wives didn't want to do it on one level, physical level. I don't want to do it, but I'm your wife. I have a duty to do. I'm to fulfill that need inside of you. In some cultures, the only reason for divorce is if a woman says no to sex. Okay, so this is it was valued so much. Sex was such an important thing to understand. Now, most modern men do not want to have sex with their wives unless their wives want to have sex. And that's a big thing. What does that mean? That means he loves you. That means he wants to make you happy, but it's a win-win situation. I want to make you happy, and when you're happy, I will be happy. Otherwise, if you don't understand how amazing this is, how men have changed in terms of wanting to make their wives happy, then you can just look at sex and man's sexual desires. Oh, all he wants is for himself. Well, if it's like selfish. If all he wanted it for himself, he's just a selfish person, wants to get it off. You could look down on that. And many people do look down on sex because it is a very strong drive in most men. And they really want it. I want it. I need it. It's a need. And but at the same time, if you look into the truth of it, he just wants her to be happy as well. You know, want this to be a shared experience. So what do we do? She said, we need to get reacquainted. And then I would say, okay, let's get reacquainted. And I'm like frustrated. Like, when are we reacquainted enough? I know what I'm saying. Are you now ready to have sex? Are you now ready to have sex? If I do that then puts a pressure on her and makes it even more of a selfish thing for me, even though it's not a selfish thing, because I'm saying, when are you ready? Meaning that you're going to enjoy it too. So understanding sort of this dynamic helped a lot. Eventually we'd get through it. But then finally I got to the simple solution is I'd come and she'd say, well, we need to get reacquainted. And I say, honey, let me know when we're reacquainted enough. That was it.
Brilliant.
Then I'm not like waiting or asking or whatever. And that implies her letting me know. And quite often when I do sex counseling, I have seen the situation, I'll put it this way, where a man will say in counseling, oh, she never wants to have sex. And she says, what do you mean I never want to have sex? Many times I want to have sex, but you're the one who doesn't want to have sex. And did anybody say that to each other? No, because it's very hard to say I want to have sex and be rejected. And I will say what's hard for women to say I want to have sex and be rejected, which is not the norm, but it does happen, of course. It's the men. And women don't understand what a shutdown it is when a man has to initiate sex and he gets a rejection. Why is that? We initiate sex generally when we've got an erection. And when you have an erection, you're way more sensitive. What most people don't know biologically is to have an erection, you have to have a lot of testosterone, but you also have to have a lot of estrogen, the female hormones. And so that if you're on your female side, then you're very, very sensitive, and yet you're wanting something, so you're going to feel the rejection more. And sometimes one of the reasons, there's many reasons, but one of the reasons couples stop having sex over time is the man has initiated sex, the woman was not in the mood. The man has initiated sex, the woman's not in the mood. And a third time. And after that, then suddenly he doesn't feel free to initiate sex. He doesn't initiate sex because he comes home after 3 rejections and he's kind of, is she in the mood? Is she not in the mood? I never know if she's in the mood. Where are we at this? And so if you lose your spontaneity as a man when you're worried about rejection. So one little solution with that one, for some couples this has helped, is particularly the couple I'm talking about where she said, oh, so many times I'm in the mood and you're not in the mood. But they didn't say that to each other. So that's the candle technique. Anytime your wife's in the mood, she should light the candle. Never let a moment go by, women. If you're in the mood, make sure that he gets to know, because even if he's not in the mood, seeing that candle, he'll be in the mood right away. Okay. So, but then the flip side of this is men aren't in the mood all the time. Not some men are, and they're addicted to sex. That's another issue we could talk about. But generally, younger men do have a higher tendency to want to have sex. And then around 35, women shift, and they sometimes want to have sex more than him. And he's not that interested because he's been so rejected before that. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics here. And I won't say these are the hard facts because it's a very personal type thing. There's a lot of factors that go into this. But anyway, he lights his candle as well whenever he's in the mood for sex, with an understanding that lighting his candle means I'm available to sex whenever you're available to sex. So it's not a pressure, okay? It's not like I'm initiating sex, I need it right now. Even though you might be feeling that, that's not what the candle means. The candle means if you're in the mood, I'm in the mood. So he lights the candle. And so there's the candle. And then there's another thing, which is another candle, which is a smaller candle. And he could be in the mood and a few days are passing and nothing is happening inside of her. she could go light the smaller candle, which means she's happy to have sex with him, but she's not going to be into it so much. And that's called a quickie. Now, I have to share my experience of quickie. I needed to connect. I needed to get in there. And she just was too stressed or was in the mood or whatever. And so we said, let's just try this as an experiment. And she said, okay, but don't expect me to have any response or don't expect me to have an orgasm, but it's my love that I'm happy to do this for you. And that's a quickie. But that also means you owe me more romance. Okay, so it's a give and take. So we created 3 types of sex. One was a quickie. Another was healthy home cooked sex, I call it that, which is where we're both in the mood. And then there's the third, the third kind of sex is the gourmet sex. So you've got quickie junk food sex, and then you got healthy home cooked sex, and you've got gourmet sex. And gourmet sex means that if I've done a quickie, or it could be a few quickies, I really owe you gourmet sex. Or you can just think at least once a month, good gourmet sex. All right. And there's a lot that goes into gourmet sex. It's a date. It's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of him preparing the nest, music, candles, acknowledgments, and making the whole thing more slow, building it up. Because what men don't understand, now we're going to shift subjects for a second, is that biologically, for women to want sex, and there's a lot of ways for it to happen. Okay, some women are just way on their male side. They're just making male hormones all the time, and they're not making enough female hormones. These are these single women who are, in many cases, I can't say everybody here, but they're single women, and they've got jobs, they make money, they don't have men in their lives, they don't have a loving relationship, but they just want to go out and have sex like some guy. Okay, they got the itch, and they're also can be addicted to it. Sex can be very addicted to it. So she's on her male side, but she's not producing a lot of female hormones. She's not orgasmic. She'll have an orgasm, and there's a distinction there. But anyway, she's on her male side. But if you look at men and women in relationship, okay, you're in a relationship with your husband, there's a natural biological thing that happens as a woman when she's in her cycling years. As the estrogen gets 4 or 5 days before, first of all, many of you haven't heard my talk before, which is, we did it before with this group, but we know there's a big difference between men and women when it comes to the sex hormones. Okay, so when a woman is stressed, her estrogen is too low. When a man is stressed, his testosterone is too low. When a man is angry, his testosterone is too low and his estrogen is too high. His female side is dominating his male side. When a woman is stressed, her male side is dominating her female side. It's the yin and the yang. Jung talked about this in terms of, the yin yang sang, with the light always has darkness in it. The darkness has light in it. Well, that was like every woman has a masculine side. Every man has a female side. But when the female side becomes dominant, he's stressed. When her male side becomes dominant, she's stressed. Now, I've proven that now biologically in terms of the hormones, identifying female hormones and male hormones. So anyway, the bottom line here is that for women in a natural cycle, because their body, it wants to prepare, as long as they're cycling, it goes through hormonal shifts every day, preparing to make a baby. And if she doesn't make a baby, then unpreparing to be prepared in the next cycle. So this is a biological thing. And a woman gets rewards, psychological rewards, if she's in harmony with that. If she's not in harmony with that, she'll be stressed. Okay, these are real simple biological truths. So as a woman is going from her period 5 days closer to her ovulation, her estrogen levels need to double so that she can get pregnant. Estrogen has to double for her to get pregnant. And as estrogen is starting to double, and she needs support for that to happen, by the way. She has to have the kind of support that will raise estrogen. If it doesn't raise estrogen, then part of her is very unhappy. So there's unhappy women did not get enough support to raise estrogen during those 4 days before ovulation, because this is survival. This is the whole race goes on by women being interested in sex, because what happens biologically in a woman, when her estrogen levels get to almost to their peak, then the brain has a switch and it produces something called luteinizing hormone, and that will now raise her testosterone. So think of it like the female energy is going higher and higher, then automatically her testosterone level will start to rise and she will feel desire to be penetrated. Okay. She wants to have sex, but she can't feel that in a healthy situation that I want to have sex unless her estrogen levels are so high. So that's why here I love my wife. She loves me. We love to have sex, but she can't want to have sex until I do something to help her estrogen levels get to that high level. And if she's being honest, I say, honey, do you want to have sex? She says, no, because she doesn't have the testosterone to say, I want to have sex. And so what I learned then when I say want to have sex, she always would practice this thing. If she was going to say no, she'd say, what would she say? There's many different things she'd say, but this was a big one, which is, do you want to have sex? And she says, there's a part of me that wants sex. But right now, I need to do this and this. Now, what I would also do is something if I say you want to have sex, and she says, I'm not really in the mood, I'd always say, in the beginning, I figured this out. I say, well, is there a part of you that wants to have sex with me? And she said, John, there's always a part of me that wants to have sex. And you can't imagine how good that feels to me to hear that. And then after a while, she would just, I said, want to have sex. She says, well, part of me wants to have sex with you, but I still have to make dinner and I still have to do this. And maybe we could go on a date or something to get reacquainted and I'll let you know. So it's like, as soon as I initiate, now the ball's always on her side of the court where she's going to let me know. And I also understand that I don't take it personally if my wife's not in the mood to have sex, because I know it's a very biological thing. If her estrogen levels aren't high enough, her body won't make testosterone, and therefore she's not going to feel like I want to have sex. I can have sex with you, and that would be a quickie. But that will very quickly, I'd say after I wrote that book, Men Are From Mars, Venus in the Bedroom, teaching quickies, it took about 2 years. And I did get a lot of letters from women saying that was so great. It just broke that whole thing because, what I ended up feeling was, even though I wasn't in the mood for sex, sometimes we would have a quickie and I would get in the mood. And sometimes just having a quickie, I felt like, I was just able to feel my love for my partner and think of the good things he's done for me. And it wasn't like we're doing it 3 times a day or anything. It was just occasional. So it was like another way to feel my connection to him, what some women would say, at a time when I would like for our relationship to have sex. I don't feel it in my body. What it means is that she's not making enough testosterone at that time in reaction to him. And that can be a lot of reasons for that. You could be on your male side making testosterone all day, achieving goals, solving problems, fixing things, makes testosterone. If you make testosterone all day, you have a stressful job. Anytime a woman is stressed, she's making more testosterone than estrogen or progesterone. Her testosterone levels are up, then she can run out of testosterone. Okay, so it's not like, women who are too far on their male side have enough testosterone. No, sometimes too much being on your male side will deplete you of your testosterone levels, and then you're not interested in sex, even if your ovulation goes up. So, and usually your ovulation, your estrogen levels don't go so high. So I know there's a lot of information in a short period of time. I'm trying to get to the point of this on this one, which is when my wife's not in the mood for sex, I go, okay, what are the things I have to do? Let me know when you are in the mood is always nice. So they're not wondering, am I going to initiate again and be rejected and, feel frustrated about that. The second part of that is let's focus. Now I'm going to focus on things to help bump up your estrogen. So that thing gives rise to this book that I wrote called Beyond Mars and Venus, which is all about male hormones and female hormones and little tools to increase it. And would you like me to share some of those things?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so the simple basics, and some of these are basics in Men Are From Mars, some are basics and Beyond Mars and Venus. I'm not going to cover all those. I'm going to go some that I don't even cover that are even more important, are more developed. So there's a lot of resources I give you in my books. I can't cover it all in a short interview, but some of the big ones are 4 hugs a day. Now, when you give a woman a hug, when a man gives a woman a hug, if it's a non-sexual hug and it lasts for 6 to 8 seconds and it was initiated by him, her estrogen levels will take a surge and it's measurable. Okay, so and the way that looks psychologically is one time I gave my wife one of these hugs and She said, that was such a nice hug because before you gave me the hug, I was really frustrated with you thinking of all the things you forgot to do. But about halfway through, I started remembering all the things that you do for me. So it's kind of like a measuring, a balancing out that happened. Now, what was going on there is that when her estrogen levels are low, too low, not a healthy level, when they drop, her brain will always look at what's missing. Women cannot control this. It's all hormonal. You cannot shift it. Unless way you can control it is do things or think things that will raise your estrogen. But estrogen tends to be primarily stimulated through various types of relationship with your children, relationships with the earth, relationships with your partner, relationships with friends, relationships with your work. Anytime in your relationships, you feel you can get help. Okay, when you're being helped, your estrogen levels go up. So this is why you'd see 90% of the people who go to therapists are women, because you go to have somebody help you, one. But two, it's very powerful in that they're going to listen to you. It turns out that when women can talk, it's the best foreplay. Okay, getting a woman to talk is fantastic foreplay. Hugs are fantastic foreplay, but it's not like you're doing this to go have sex. You're doing this to build estrogen. So 4 hugs a day, first thing in the morning, when you return together, when you go, first thing in the morning, when you leave, when you come back, before bed. Always don't let a day go by without a man pursuing a woman to give a hug. Whether he likes it or not, you do it. But what's interesting, I could care less about hugs when I was a younger guy. I just like sex. But as I began to experience how good it felt for my wife to appreciate my hugs, then now I love hugs. Okay. It's like it's strengthening my female side, my male side. So I love to give hugs. I miss hugs. I want to hug. I didn't as a younger guy. I remember my wife in the beginning as a young guy in my 30s. She said, well, let's just cuddle. And I'm like, what is cuddle? I was so on my male side. Cuddling to me is two people coming together in bed, somewhat naked. I would have sex. So I was a bit horny, but but I love the importance of cuddling. But this one is we're focusing on the hug. The hug is a powerful thing, and it's like a surge of estrogen and a little bigger surge of estrogen if you're the one who initiates it. So if she initiates it, it's a nice oxytocin producer where you feel safe, but estrogen goes up when he initiates it, when he's like the fireman. Right now I just did an interview and I was mentioning the firemen in LA. Boy, those guys are going to get laid big time. I mean, women love firemen. It's the biggest thing. Everybody loves firemen. Nobody can say a bad thing about firemen because they're the heroes. They risk their life. They go into the buildings. They do this. They save your life. It stimulates so much estrogen for women to feel that. And I learned this big time when my daughter, her house burned down and that she was living in. And she was out there and she said, oh my gosh, my computer, my book I'm writing, it's on the computer. And a fireman went into the building and rescued her computer. It even got into the news. He went back into the fire to get the computer. It's like saving the child. But this is a huge testosterone producer when a man feels a woman looks to him with that kind of admiration, that kind of trust, that kind of appreciation, that kind of acceptance. And that's the whole dance of romance, because for men to feel their desire, because over time we lose our desire for our wives, because what happened or can, it's very common for men to lose interest in sex over 40. I can only say that I've never lost interest in sex, but the over 40 age, I found out that Viagra was being used by 50% of the guys turning over 40. I mean, just like, whoa, in their 40s. Why do they need that? It was shocking to me. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the major ones is low testosterone. And ironically, if you have low testosterone in a man, you'll have less, and you love your partner, you have plenty of estrogen. You need estrogen to be turned on, but you also need to have higher testosterone. So if you're not feeling loved and supported, appreciated and trusted, and she's depending on you in various things, little things, not big things, just little things, it's hard for him to have that interest in sex with her and hard for her to have the estrogen go up. There's some research showing that when a woman's estrogen goes up, she puts out pheromones that turn on a man. That literally, we have a little thing in our nose, a little flap up here, and its only job is to smell for pheromones. And if she's producing these pheromones of higher estrogen, like, I'm so happy to see him. I'm so glad I'm married to him. He's the guy. And last night he did this for me. And the other day he did that. See, all that stuff is pumping up her estrogen. She will produce pheromones, and those pheromones will actually raise testosterone in men. And the same thing, when a man sees a woman and his testosterone and he cares to please her, he does something for her. When he's doing that, it will be producing pheromones that will actually raise a woman's estrogen. This is so amazing. This has all been measured. And now I'm just going to give you a funny story about that to kind of remember it is, Bonnie and I, we have this guy, Jose, who takes care of the grounds. Bonnie's a gardener. He comes once a week and he cuts the trees, and he plants the things. He does things in the garden. And I call him the outdoor husband. I'm the indoor husband. and the reason for that is that I told Jose, I said, when you take a wife on a date, sometimes you take her on a romantic getaway and to these bed and breakfasts. And at a bed and breakfast, they will usually have a little fireplace, and the wood is already there, and there's the kindling, and then the wood, and then there's the newspaper under it. So I analyzed that, and so I taught Jose how to do that at my house. So every time he'd come, I'd have him, bring in the wood and put it all in, and now I could just go light the newspaper, and we'd have this beautiful fire. Okay, so Bonnie said to me when she watched Jose do that one day, I wasn't around, and she said, John, Jose came in and made that beautiful fire for us, or prepared it for us. And I just want you to know that I had such a good feeling about that. And I'd rather have those same feelings about you. So that's what I told Jose. He's not allowed to come in the house. Okay? I'll learn to do that. I'll do that. And I particularly do it at times where she can see I'm doing it. Women like to see men do things for them. And this is to make estrogen higher. Now, in the past, it wouldn't be as necessary for a man to do things and a woman to see it, because men were away doing stuff and women were dependent on him going out and making money doing stuff. So the money came in. But as soon as women can start making money on their own, then him being out there doing the dirty, dangerous, difficult jobs doesn't have the same effect. So what women need to see is they need to see you as men toiling for her personally. Even though my father would toil at work, that was enough for my mother. My wife, because she also has a job, she also makes money. It's not as significant that I make money. Of course, she appreciates it and so forth. So these are on biological levels, pretty much what Maslow talked about. When your survival levels are met, you're not that dependent on each other. Then what's going to pump up your hormones? You have a new need emerges, and the need is what often women will say is the need for romance. Romance is any type of behavior that will stimulate higher levels of estrogen. What I've come up with a lot of things that first analyzing romance, you would summarize. I'll give you one example. On a romantic date, a man opens the car door for the woman. All right, so I'm going to open the car door for her. Now, my wife at one point, when I opened the car door, she said, I can do that. And my response was, oh, honey, of course you can do that. But you give so much to everybody. Tonight, let me give everything for you. See how romantic that is? Okay, it's me doing something for her that she could do for herself, but she doesn't have to do for herself. See, this is the secret about generating romance. Then a lot of things can happen to generate romance. But one thing we know is take your wife out to dinner. Okay, so this is something that she can cook for herself, but somebody else is going to cook for her, so she doesn't have to cook the food. That's a little romantic. Go into a hotel where somebody's going to clean up the room, and it's all vacuumed and the bed is made, and she doesn't have to do anything. It's all there for her, and she can leave without having to do anything afterwards. So having someone do things that she doesn't have to do is romance. Okay, so then you look at that and you realize, look at what's the opposite of romance is a woman feeling overwhelmed and stressed. When she's feeling overwhelmed and stressed, it's the opposite of romance. And you'll see her estrogen levels are not going to peak out. They just can't peak out when she's overwhelmed and stressed. Well, when she's overwhelmed and stressed, her mind is saying, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough. It's a lot of I don't have, and I have to. Okay. So what I found is anything that we can help our partners as men, we want to help our partners. We realize they get into kind of a snowball effect of feeling, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Always there for everybody, doing things for everybody, or doing things for herself even. I have to do this, I have to do this. Rushing.
Mm.
This is a stress state for women. And this is also the perfect symptom of when a woman is on her male side, which is solving problems, rather than on her female side, where someone is helping her, doing things for her, solving problems for her or with her. Okay, so this is, again, understanding our polarity. So I analyze this feeling I have to. Whenever a woman is stressed, feeling I have to, I have to, I have to, it becomes a pattern. It's like a snowball going down the hill. And snowball just gathers more snow and gathers more snow. It doesn't. And so there's something known in psychology which is called a pattern interrupt. If you that snowball's coming down, if you just stop it, then it stops flowing. You can't stop the momentum. So women are kind of in, once they're on their male side too far, they get on a momentum of their male side. What we want to do is get her back on the momentum of her female side, which is relaxing more, receiving more, having support to the place where she has what the French call a little death. She can let go of all these responsibilities and just be. And that's an orgasmic state of just feeling love and gratitude and appreciation for someone bringing you to that place, which is making love. So these concepts of helping to give her a little, I call them biohacks. We're biohacking her hormones, men. We're helping her to raise her estrogen. And yes, there's biohacks where women can raise a man's testosterone. But the first thing is you got to raise her estrogen up first. And to a certain extent, if I am successful in raising her estrogen, that is the ultimate biohack I do for myself. Anytime a man feels successful in making a woman happy, his testosterone goes up. There's certain things, if a woman can say nice things to a man and interact with him in a nice way, that will also build up his testosterone without a doubt. But the ultimate picture here is what hacks can I use to raise her estrogen? And I'll say some hacks for women with testosterone. But the bigger picture is helping the woman settle back into her female side, because our culture has pushed women over to their male side, and we want to. They're fine with that. We want women on the male side. Women are brilliant, amazing, terrific, business, everything. Yet they become overly stressed if they can't get back into their female side, and it breaks up the sexual relationship for people that want a sexual relationship. And that's what we're talking about today. So the biohack here is 4 hugs a day. That's an estrogen stimulator. I initiate them. Another one is in the beginning, she puts up 5 fingers. After a while, you don't have to put up the signal. But the signal is I'm putting up 5 fingers because I'm going to ask you to do something that will take less than 5 minutes. And it's something that I can do for myself, but I'm going to enjoy you doing it for me.
Oh,
A little thing.
yeah.
Okay. Now, maybe I have to preface this by understanding the way women's hormonal system works is and this is in Men Are From Mars without understanding the hormonal system, but the hormonal system just backs up everything I said in Men Are From Mars, is that on Venus, every act of love, big or small, has the same effect.
Yeah.
Every act of love, big or small, has the same effect, beneficial effect. So I can bring her 50 roses. Oh my gosh, how beautiful, how wonderful. I can bring her 3 roses. Oh, how beautiful, how sweet, how wonderful. I can bring her 1 rose, 1 gardenia. That was the special. Oh, I love gardenias, just, 1. And yet men are over here thinking bigger is better because on the Mars world, bigger is better. And, if you don't do much, you don't get much. If you do more, the guy who catches the touchdown pass gets all the applaud, it's just like, you want to be the winner. You want to better and bigger at something. Okay. And then you get paid more, you get more love. Those firemen, they're willing to risk their lives to go in the fire. Boy, they're being loved by the women. Okay. So bigger is better. And yes, some bigger is good for women without a doubt, but to sustain her estrogen levels up is lots and lots of little things to keep her estrogen up. So 4 hugs a day does it. Understanding another big biohack is listening to a woman longer than you can imagine needing to talk. Okay. I'm looking at the clock because at the time, how many examples I'm going to give, but this is where I really learned this. one time Bonnie was stressed out, whatever, and there are all these kind of problems going on in her head and in the outer world, I guess. And I said, well, I was going to test this out. I'm going to listen. She was upset about something. I listened to it, and I can't remember the details, but I was listening and I was practicing. Tell me more. Help me understand that better. What else? And I was surprised something else came up. In my mind, I'm looking at the clock and I'm saying, I'm going to see how long she can talk. I just wanted to test it out. And she was really stressed. I'd been out of town for a while. A lot of things had gone wrong. The accountant, the plumbing, the kids, the this, the that, whatever. And I wasn't there and she'd called me. So I'm part of the problem, but not the whole problem. So I kept practicing. Don't speak. Ask questions. It's a major estrogen stimulator when women get to feel freedom, that you're not being rushed to a point. Most men, okay, what's the point? What do you want me to do? Can't we get over this? Can't you forget it? Any of that pressure on her not to open up is going to suppress what needs to come out. So she literally talked for an hour. I mean, I could not imagine somebody talking for an hour. This is unbelievable. And I think this woman must be so unhappy. You know, she'd gone through this and this and this. And then I said, is there anything else? And she says, no. Now, I'm not a Superman, okay? So I'm hearing lots of these complaints, and I'm all in my mind, I'm defending each one. Okay, you're misunderstanding me, but I'm containing it. I contain it inside. I'm showing interest. I'm being as interested as I can. There's a little voice inside of me. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. I'm ready to launch into a big argument. Well, you said this about me, but you didn't do this. And because of this, you could have just called so-and-so. And because of this, this is what people do. You complain about so much mail. Everybody gets mail, and you're the one who gets the mail. Not so much me, even. I have somebody else doing. I could negate everything she had to say, but I'm practicing. I'm just going to let her express everything, let it come out. But I'm not so enlightened then. And so an hour goes by. I'm looking at the clock. Could not believe it. How could somebody have so many complaints? I cannot believe it. And I'm ready, and I'm angry inside, but I'm not showing it. I'm angry inside. This is unfair. I feel blamed for all these things. I feel judged for all these things. I work so hard. Why can't you just be happy? All right. So she's not happy. So I'm ultimately kind of mad that she's not happy after all I do. Okay. So I don't say any of that stuff. I just keep showing interest, because you can separate. Men can sort of go to different compartments very easier than women, like way easier. So I can put that all I'm going to say, all right, I got all my argument over here, but I hear everything you're saying. So an hour goes by, and then I said, is there anything more? And she said, no. And then I said, well, would this be a good time for me to tell you how I feel? And, that's a way a communication skill. Would this be a good time to have a conversation? So I'm now being very polite. I've got this whole thing going. So would this be a good time for me to share with you how I feel? And she said, no. And I had the same reaction. What? She said, no. And I said, oh, tell me why. John, you've listened to me for a long time, and this has been so wonderful. I just want to bask in the sunshine of your love.
Oh.
I was blown away. How could this woman love me after all this complaining and all this stuff? I must be a 0 on her list with huge regret for being with me. And she said, I just want to bask in the sunshine of your love. This was like, I was stunned by that. And then I said, shocked by it. And then I said, well, when would be a good time for me to tell you how I feel? And she says, I'll let you know. So literally, she's making dinner, and she started to sing while she was making dinner. Now, she doesn't sing that much. I love when she sings, but it's not a common thing anymore. And now she was singing some little song, and literally my kitchen looked like a Disney movie with little bluebirds flying around, and the sun was shining, and she was in some kind of altered state of happy wife. And I looked at that. What just happened? I just heard all that for an hour. But just seeing her happy, I have to say, reduced my anger 50%. It wasn't completely gone. And then we had dinner, and we're having dinner. Kids are there, and she's very pleasant, whatever. I was going to, she said she'd let me know, so I'm not going to say anything. And I watched as her happiness was lowering my anger, my frustration, and my, upset. So it didn't go away completely. Then that night, we're getting into bed, and I saw her, she turned the lights down and she went over to her drawer where she has sexy lingerie. And she went to pick out something to wear to bed. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I'm finding my favorite lingerie." And I said, "Honey, you don't have to find it. I'm going to take it off anyway." She said, "I want the right one to take off." Just as a subtlety there. But anyway, she said, and we got into bed, and that was a clear indication we're going to have sex. And she gets into bed, and we do our thing. We have sex, and we go to sleep afterwards. Sex is always good for me. Okay, so I felt in having sex. And when a man has sex, he forgets everything. So I've forgotten everything. And I go to sleep. I wake up in the morning, and she cuddles with me a little bit, and she smiles. I smile at her, and she says, "Oh, John, would this be a good time to talk about your feelings?" I said, "Sure, but there's nothing, no problem at all." It's like I had nothing to be upset about. Everything was washed clean, okay? It was like men do not hold on to this stuff after they feel very successful. And there's nothing that makes a man feel more successful. There could be other things, but one of the certain things is being able to make his wife happy when you're being vulnerable and close together in sex. It's such a difference. Just to sort of expand on that difference, one time I was being Mr. Grumpy, and I was in my cave for a long, we had some argument. We didn't know all this stuff in the beginning, but we had this argument. So we're not talking to each other for a few days, and we have ways to process ourselves to come back together. She processed herself. Normally, I'm the guy who will come back with more love and apologize and say, "Okay, let's talk about this now. I realized what I could have done." Normally, I'm the one that comes, but this time I was stuck. And she was already ready. "Let's get over it. It's no big deal. Let's just, let go of this upset." She's ready to make peace. So what she does is she walks into the bedroom. I'm in the bed. I'm all kind of grumpy, and she's naked. She puts her hands up. She says, "Look at me. I'm a woman." And then she says the word F word, me. F me. And I was stunned. And within a minute, everything I was upset about was gone. I just said, "Okay, let's do that." And she got into bed and did that. All of my bad mood was gone. Now, just imagine if she was upset with me and wasn't being nice, and I went into her room and said, "Naked, look at me,
No.
F me," and it didn't work at all. Okay. This is the world. We're living different worlds, and people can just see some of these examples. I got way more of those funny examples, but the point is we have this battle of the sexes. We want to know that when our partners aren't in the mood, we need to generate polarity. And polarity means that I'm on the male side more and you're on the female side more. So these little biohacks, the 5-minute hack, it was all kind of a build up to support the 5-minute hack, is every day my wife, she doesn't raise her hand anymore, but she used to, the exercise we did, this is an exercise we do to create our polarity, is at any time, no matter what, unless I really can't respond, it's an emergency I'm doing, but she'll put up 5 fingers. I immediately go, "Yes, right away. What is it you want?" And Princess Bride. How many people did you see Princess Bride? Princess Bride is this cult movie. I mean, my daughters all could repeat every word in the whole thing. But this woman falls madly in love with this guy because when he's a young guy, he's helping her. He always says, "As you wish, as you wish, as you wish." Now, ultimately, women do not want a man sitting around passively and just taking orders, "As you wish, as you wish." It would be too passive. But for 5 minutes, it's 100% as you wish, whatever you would like. I am your Superman. I'm going to jump right away. Whatever it is you ask me to do, I'm going to do as long as there's a window of only 5 minutes. If you're going to say, "I want you to do this, and I'm going to have to go do this 30-minute job or this 15-minute," then you feel controlled by somebody. Nobody wants to feel controlled. Women don't want to feel controlled. So, but this is 5 minutes. And she basically wanted to give me a foot massage. Okay, 5 minutes. And I look at the clock. I'm done at 5 minutes. Okay. Make her a cup of tea, jump up. And a big part of it is she's going to ask, and you're going to respond with enthusiasm.
Mhm.
Most of the time men lose that enthusiasm. And if you don't feel it, fake it. Just, it's, I go into the restaurant and they, Dr. Gray, you're here. We got a special table for you. I see you're here with your wife. We got hors d'oeuvres for you. The chef just brought this out. You want to treat her like VIP for 5 minutes without any hesitation, no resistance. When I fly in the plane, when you fly business class, they come, oh, just push the button and we'll be here right away. It's our joy to serve you. That's what you need to have as a man. That's who you were in the beginning of the relationship. You say, would you do this for me? Yes, of course I do that for you. But after a while, we sort of get into our pattern, our routines. The energy just isn't there for a man to respond like that. And I'll explain why that happens as well. But first, what this exercise does, it amps me up into, it's only 5 minutes. Let me react quickly, just like I'm the one who initiates the hugs. I'm the one who just take the action. It's not like me raising my hand for 5 minutes and says, honey, I want you to do this. Now, that's her on the male side. I want my wife to be on the female side. So there's no tit for tat here. This is just men using this powerful tool, giving your wife permission to put the hand up and let her know whatever she puts the hand up, 5 minutes, whatever you ask for. It could be get the lavender oil, go make a steak, it could be make me a cup of tea, make me some fresh orange juice, clean up the kitchen. And I'll only do it for 5 minutes. You do what you can do for 5 minutes. And it's a guaranteed happy response, because when a woman can ask without fear and knowing you're going to get immediate response, that's a biological reaction. And as opposed to asking something big that you have to, well, let's plan this out. Well, I can't really do it, whatever. No, it's just something little. And he knows he can win that point. He can win another point and another point and another point. This is building up her estrogen levels, her freedom to do that. Here's another one, big biohack. Couples have such a war in the car when a man's driving, because typically men are better drivers, in my opinion. Okay, so, but they're also more dangerous drivers. And my wife is so proud of my driving. She says, John, if we're late, John can get us there. But we also would have these tension in the car because I'd be driving fast when we weren't in a hurry. Okay, if I'm in a hurry, she's really happy for me to do the kind of driving I can do. But when we're not in a hurry, and I don't know what mode she's in or whatever, but sometimes she starts feeling I'm driving too fast. Okay, you're driving too fast and I don't feel comfortable. So if she says, and the way she would do it is that, you could get a ticket. Of course I know that. He says, Archie could say, I don't feel safe the way you're driving. I'll take that as criticism. The last thing I want is my wife not to feel that I'm making her feel safe. So these are like moments that you should slow down. Okay, it's somebody telling me what to do, and I have to really be in the mode of being in control of myself. I'm driving. I can't just let somebody tell me how to drive. So it's a frustration that couples have. And you can often see, I watch the highways and I see where women are driving and their husbands are sitting in the front seat. In many cases, I already know what happened in their relationship. She gave so much advice while he's driving that he said to her, well, if you want to drive, then you just drive. And she says, yes, I'll drive, because she doesn't like the way he drives. Because when a woman is in the passenger seat, she has no control. You're in the driver's seat, you have complete control. And she has a different comfort zone, not having brakes, not having the steering wheel, not having the same visibility you have from your side of the car versus from her side of the car. And, even still, my wife, we're going around a curve on a mountain. From her side, it looks like we're about to fall in. From my side, I can see we have plenty of room. So you have to recognize people have their point of view, and you have to honor that. So what I started doing in the car, and Bonnie initiated this, which was, she said to me, John, I know it's frustrating for you when I'm telling you to slow down, but I have a different comfort zone from you. And don't you want to support my comfort zone? I said, of course I do, honey, but I don't always know what makes you feel good or not. And she said, well, how can I let you know that I'm not feeling comfortable? And what could I say? Are safe. And I thought I couldn't come up with anything. I said, boy, it's hard to deal with a man. How do you say things in a way that he can really hear? And I said, but this will certainly work. Whenever you're feeling uncomfortable with my comfort level, because we're different. If you're feeling uncomfortable with my comfort level, all you have to do is grab the handle. I had a BMW at the time. Grab the handle, and then I know your message is for me to slow down. There's something about sign languages that really works for men. Thousands of years as hunters, we're using sign language all the time and not words. So, and military guys still do that. They have all their sign levels that they do. So just grab the handle and I will instantly slow down. Just instantly. You always know that you are safe. There's something about knowing that you can ask what you want and get it right away, which produces security, comfort, and ease. It produces oxytocin, which now raises her estrogen. So what she did is she pulled the handle. I make sure that when she does that, no matter what, I instantly slow down and I put my hand on her thigh and I said, and I did that for you. And she very graciously says, I know, and I appreciate it. And boom, her estrogen goes up. Because when a man does something for her, estrogen goes up. And then when women acknowledge that estrogen with a thank you, it goes up even higher. Okay, so this is where words bring things up higher. So that became our dance that we did all for years and years and years. Now we have the other one is red lights, yellow lights, green lights. Now there's one comedian who has a really funny skit where he says, you know, when I drive, I've got my little helper and she reminds me of my colors. Anyway, my wife would be so frustrated when I would speed up at a yellow light. Her thing is to slow down. You see a yellow light, you slow down. My thing is to speed up when you see a yellow light. And to make a joke on me, one time I was driving very fast and I saw a yellow light and I floored it and I went through and a policeman pulled me over and I said to that policeman, I said, but I made it through that yellow light. I did not run a red light. And he says, that's right. You did not run a red light. You're going 80 miles an hour. So clearly, sometimes I go too fast. All right. So I don't want to get tickets. So the next thing is I would slow down. Always a yellow light. I would just slow down. And even sometimes abruptly start. And I put my hand on her thigh and she says, yes. And I really appreciated it. So again, it's whenever a woman experiences that a man actually goes against what he wants to do, but does it for her, it's an estrogen stimulation without grumbling. Part of the dynamic of super high estrogen levels is a woman feeling special. That's why monogamy, you know, there's all this talk about, you know, it's outdated. It's just some kind of thing that's been put on us. And monogamy is such a advanced, powerful biohack because the ultimate of estrogen stimulation is when a woman feels that she is super safe. You're certainly safe from younger women pulling your husband away. You're safe for women going after your husband. You're also safe. That's the safety of it. But the another level is the specialness of it. You see, safety is one, that's oxytocin. But estrogen goes up the more special you feel. The more you feel I can ask for help and get it. I can depend on my partner. So one of the needs that women have for estrogen to hit the highest level is to feel I am special. One of the needs men have for their testosterone levels to go high is to feel important. I am significant. So like right now, I'm important. I have all these people listening to me. You've invited me to give the call. I'm talking. I'm helping to help people solve problems. So that's my testosterone. That makes me feel important, significant. So that's for testosterone. Not that women don't need to feel important and significant. They need that. But what they need even more for their estrogen levels to go up is to feel special, to be the priority, that when she is number one. And this is so powerful. That's what all romantic gestures are, is you're opening the car for her, you're planning a day for her, you take her places, you find out what she likes to do. Another biohack is every week, and this is for both men and women to do both sides, is to have a discussion about what we're going to do next weekend if you're trying to create this ongoing momentum of romance. So what would be some things we could do next weekend? And let's discuss it. And what we discuss for the romance side of it is 3 things that she would like to do, not 3 things that I would like to do. Because the premise here is whatever she likes to do is what I will want to do. I maybe don't want to do that, but if it's going to make you happy, it's one of the things that can make you happy, then I will shift into, okay, then I want to do that. There's a lot of things that my wife likes to do that I don't want to do. But if she says this is something that would be nice for her, that she would like to do it, and it's not so much she's telling me to do it. She's saying, here's 3 options. Ideally, if you can have 3 options where he can win by making you happy, and then he can pick them. So she gives the options and he says, all right, I'll pick it. Let me think about it. And that also frees her, which is not romantic. It frees her from feeling, I'm just telling my husband what to do and he's doing it. That becomes like an employee or something. That's not romantic. It's romantic when he picks and he leads and he takes the responsibility for making it happen. And I'm talking about an emotional responsibility. For example, if my wife said, we really should go to this movie, and I know one of my friends who got a divorce, but this is what he would do. His wife would say, let's go to this movie. And he'd go to the movie and he'd make these groans in the movie. Oh, now imagine your husband making those groans. You feel terrible as a woman. You feel terrible. So, that's because she will feel, oh, I chose this and now he's not happy. That puts her on her male side. Anything that brings a woman back to her female side is gonna raise the estrogen up. And when I'm describing all this, we're talking about great sex. We're talking about romance. And it doesn't mean that all the time she can't be on her male side. I mean, women have very strong male side, and their tendency is to get over too far on it and not be able to get back to their female side. So these are the things that help women get back there. And it's the same thing of being a mother. Ironically, we think of being a mother, a feminine thing. Well, being a mother becomes a very masculine thing if you don't have a masculine or somebody taking care of you so you can take care of the kids. See, there's a place that we're always seeking balance. When a woman can receive love and support, what she's needing on an emotional level, then she can freely give without resentment. But if she's not getting and she's just giving, what you get is a lot of resentful women who will give to men. It feels good to give, but they're not getting back. And it's so ironic is that when you give love to a man, he thinks I've done enough. If I give love to a woman, she feels, oh, I should give love back. It's like this switch that women have, which is we call the reciprocity gene. If I give to her, she will want to give back. It's automatic. But if you give to me, I have what's called the efficiency gene. It's only do what I have to do. So if you give to me, I'm getting the message that, oh, I must have done enough, so I don't have to do more.
Wow.
It's like very confusing on the surface, but when you bring out that men and women are different, what motivates men is not you doing things for them. What motivates men is when you ask them to do something or when he is naturally taught what to do and you're happy. Men do things to get the response. If I get the response without having to do anything, then I don't have to do anything. This is, to take it on a macro level, you'll see that usually the passion goes away in marriages quite quickly. When men get over 50, they sort of lost all their ambitions and their dreams many times. Their testosterone levels went down because they stopped having sex. And then what happens is they're not motivated anymore and they're just doing what they like to do. Well, when a man does what he likes to do, he's not making testosterone. He has to overcome challenges. He has to solve problems. He has to do the difficult and dangerous and dirty jobs where people will go, yay, thank you so much. So he will basically easily go to his female side. A man's female side is not having to do anything. Whereas your male side comes forth when you feel I have to do. Same thing for women. When they feel I have to do something, their male side comes out. When they feel I don't have to do, then they go to their female side. So at retirement, whatever time a man retires, basically the theme is I don't have to do anything anymore. I can just do what I like to do. So as soon as men just do what they like to do, that's part of life. I certainly have things I like to do. That's called hobby time. But if I don't have the flip side of that, I have to work hard to achieve goals, to make things happen. And then I can go do what I like to do. But once you retire, you stop working. And now you're just doing what you like to do, which in the past was good for you. Only good for you doing what you like to do is only if you've been on your male side all day. Then you can go over to your female side. And what that does for a man is it helps to rebuild his testosterone, but it doesn't rebuild testosterone unless you first used it up. I mean, that was a lot of information very quickly, but basically retirement is low testosterone in men. And that's not healthy for men. And we're looking at heart attacks in men, and there's so many people think all the reasons for heart attacks, but there's not a man on this planet who had a heart attack who didn't have low testosterone.
Wow.
It's always there. And half the people with heart attacks have low cholesterol. Half the people with heart attacks have high cholesterol. Cholesterol is a minor thing. And 80% of the brain is cholesterol. We need cholesterol. People have been eating cholesterol always. Meat in the animals, meat in the fat. Fat is very, very important for us. This is all part of lowering testosterone in men, is these ridiculous diet things that people are teaching now. Even when you take those cholesterol drugs, what men have to know is they have no evidence proving it will prolong your life other than 8 days if you've already had a heart attack. It's absurd. And there's so many schools of thought, but all I can tell you is that when men have heart attacks, their testosterone is low, and that's the case. And so keep your testosterone levels up, which means anybody would agree that stress causes heart attacks. Well, men only have stress in their body when their testosterone levels are low and their estrogen is high. Anger in a man, for example, resentment in a man, his estrogen is high, his testosterone is low. Anger and resentment in a woman is going to be her testosterone is high and her estrogen is low. We are like mirrors of each other. So if you want sex to last in a relationship, we've gone over time here, but we've lasted a long time on this. What men have to learn, these are powerful things to keep the love alive, is be the man you were in the beginning with, like my son-in-law with his daughter, baby. He said, I have infinite patience. Infinite patience. That's what you need with your wife, infinite patience, and just suck it up when you don't have it. And this phrase, suck it up, irritation, annoyance, bothered, wanting to get to the point, is literally the phrase comes from, because one day I was listening and it was hard. I really just wanted to go watch TV, which would be my cave time, and she wanted to talk. And I just said, John, just suck it up. And I contracted all of my ab muscles, and I realized I felt better. Because when you contract your muscles, you make testosterone. And that's what I was weakening because my testosterone levels were dropping. And ultimately it was a symptom. I wasn't getting enough cave time. Men need their cave time. And women also need these biohacks. And when it comes to talking, if you want a man to be able to listen comfortably, and he's like looking at the clock while you're talking to him, whatever, just say, I don't need to talk for long. How about 10 more minutes? Whenever you say to a man 10 minutes, he can do it. Well, that's why the five fingers is for doing something, and 10 fingers is for just listen for 10 minutes more, or for 10 minutes. This happened one time. I was at dinner and I just really needed to keep my cave time, and I just straining myself to try to keep listening to my wife with some sort of empathy and enthusiasm. And she says, I know you want to go watch the news. Just give me 10 minutes. I said, oh, okay, I can do 10 minutes. Because when women are going on, because in your consciousness, there's not a clear point you're getting to, you're just wanting to connect. I don't get the clear point. So it's like there's no end to it. And the thought of me having nothing to do for unlimited time will exhaust me. So all I need to know is 10 minutes. So whenever you're talking to a guy, just say, I only need 10 more minutes. Or I only need 10 minutes. As soon as you give a time limit, boom, he's right there. Another thing secretly, so these are all good biohacks you can do. If you have something you want more of from your partner that they might think you're complaining just pushes testosterone down. But one of the ways to not is to make every complaint, forget about ever complaining, realize that every complaint is a request. Complaining is you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. Women think they have to point out how bad you are to motivate you to do something good. You don't need to do that. Make a specific question. If he's like he always forgets to call you, okay? So you wouldn't go to him and say, you always forget to call me. You just slammed his testosterone. You say, honey, I've noticed sometimes that you called me, and I just want to remind you how good it feels when you call. It's not a big deal. But sometimes you forget and walk out of the room. It's not a big deal, and sometimes you forget, almost lowering your breath. And he will then think about that, and then he'll remember to call you more. It's a subtlety to this, is that if you scold men, they're just going to resist back. Complaining to men doesn't allow the best part of them to come out, just like my not attending to and respecting my wife's sensitivities and needs. And if I want a romance to be there, then I know I need to free her temporarily on a regular basis from feeling in charge of everything. One of the reasons having children kills the romance as well is because the woman is on her male side. She's the CEO of the house. Okay, you're gone out work, your children, if she's staying home raising the kids, if that's the situation, she's doing everything. As once again, she's doing everything. Male, male, male. She does get some estrogen because she's getting so much unconditional love from the child. but she needs help. If she doesn't have a man, she needs to have a therapist, a coach, or a really good friend who's willing to listen to everything that's going on in her life, in a sense, for her to complain. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, and how to amplify that up, which is, again, there's biohacks for this. If you're complaining to a woman, usually you'll be producing estrogen. But if you're talking with your husband or whatever, and you're complaining about your life, he can't really get into it and give you the connection you need unless you include emotions. So just to be able to throw in the word, I feel frustrated when, or I feel frustrated because, I was so disappointed. I thought this was going to work. It didn't work. I feel so bad. I said this to my child. I didn't mean to do that. I'm so concerned. Am I doing this right? She's not sleeping well. Bring emotion into the conversation, because whenever you have emotion, positive or negative, your estrogen goes up. This is often why sometimes women, when their estrogen is low, they get very emotional and they look at problems to have emotions, because having their emotions will temporarily raise their estrogen. It's also why men will do porn. Basically, if you do porn in your man, temporarily, your testosterone will go up. Just like a woman complaining, temporarily her estrogen will go up and then it will crash down because nothing was changed. For a man, he could do porn. The whole porn is like so powerful, addictive type thing. It's giving the message that he's the king of the world. If a man goes online, you can go online and you can just put in free video porn, something like that. And 64,000 women will appear all somewhat naked, giving the impression to your subconscious mind they all want to have sex with you. That's like the alpha male monkey in a tribe. In the tribe, all the females only have sex with the alpha male. And when the alpha male, and his testosterone is twice as high as all the females, because all these females looking to him raises his testosterone. He's the leader. Women looking to a man as a leader, his testosterone shoots up. But when that monkey dies, another monkey who has they're beta monkeys, they have half the level of testosterone. As soon as one dies, the alpha dies, they all get in a fight, whatever. One shows he's the next one to become alpha. And as soon as he gets the status of alpha, and all the women go, okay, now you're the leader, his testosterone levels double. It's literally, women can double a man's testosterone. It's so powerful. That's why men have to have women, generally speaking. If there's a divorce, men are married within 3 years on average. Not every man, but on average within 3 years. On average, 9 years for women. They don't depend on sex as much as men do. It's for our testosterone. Women depend on relationship, friendship, connection, all these other things to raise their estrogen levels up. So I covered that one. There's a lot of fun things to talk about here. Any questions so far before we end? Because we're a bit over time, I think.
No, this has been so refreshing, so amazing. You are absolutely the legend of this space, and we are so grateful to have had you. I would just love to hear before you go, you do have a course, because you touched on so much, but if anybody wanted to go deeper, you have a course that's about having better sex in your relationship.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. You can take the course, and that's really fun and funny, and it's a 6-week course. It's called Secrets of Great Sex. I think it's 6 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And it's talks that I've given and exercises and things to fill out and affirmations. A lot of really good stuff in it. We put a lot of energy into making it into a course. That's A. But that's particularly for couples to understand the dynamics of sex and a lot of the things. But 2, there's a class called Understanding Men, which is, again, super important for women's estrogen levels. It's a 6-week course, a lot of information in there. And if you're a couple doing the course together, even though it's called for women only, because women really need to understand men. If you don't understand men, your estrogen levels are going to be dropping all the time, okay? Because you just feel like support is not there. Support is not there. You have to know how I can get support from a man. And you eventually end up sabotaging the relationship by wanting to get support, but getting it in the wrong way. So we talk all about the cave, all about how to ask for things, a whole bunch of stuff. My daughter does that course, but I edited it with her. It's all with me. We spent hours and hours on it. So that's called Understanding Men. And then there's the course, which is Secrets of Great Sex. Those are our 2 most popular ones at marsvenus.com. I know Rich is here. We also have, Rich, where are you? I'm not seeing you right now, but Rich is the head of our Mars Venus coaching. So we do provide coaching for people who are interested in talking to a coach. We have Mars Venus coaches. And so they also have the basic coaching skills, but then they have the information of Mars, Venus, which can be so helpful to helping people moving in the right direction at times when it comes to dating or relationships or breaking up and healing the heart. We have those skills. They've all learned those skills and they teach classes on those things. Thanks for letting me talk about that.
Yeah, no
Mike
problem.
and I are both Mars Venus gender intelligence coaches.
And we love it.
So
Yeah.
there's so much good information, and somehow there's always like 6 more new things that I'm gonna implement this right after we
Yeah,
shut this
and I'm gonna
down.
buy that course you said about understanding men for my sweetie here. And I'm giving her a nice 6-second
I promise.
hug.
Oh,
You will not regret it. But I'd like to end with what I feel is not in any of my books or courses or anything. So it's just a very, very sweet exercise.
yeah.
And to do it regularly.
Yeah.
We needed
What's
to hear
that?
that one again. We knew that one. I think it's familiar to both of us, the hug thing. But I think we
He
needed
said
to
he
hear
wants to
that
end with a
again.
different
No,
exercise.
this is something new
Oh,
completely.
yeah.
Okay. So something Bonnie would say to me a lot, she's very in tune with what her needs are, which is, I need reassurance. I need reassurance. I just couldn't understand what it meant until we figured it out. And the way I figured it out is as an exercise. Imagine if you were to say to your husband, do you love me? He would say, well, of course I love you. Now, why do you think I do this and this and this? And research actually shows that whenever somebody says, of course, it raises the stress level of the other person. Because when you say, of course, it's kind of like, what a stupid question, which means what a stupid person you are to ask something like that. Or if you say to your husband, well, do you love me? I don't think you love me. You don't love me. That comes across as criticism. But everybody, human beings, need reassurance that we are loved. And love particularly takes the form for a man of significance. Remember, I talked about men need to feel important, that they're significant. So this is what work does for a man. But in a relationship, reassurance that you're loved is very, very important for women. Now, think back when many couples have been married for many years, and they say, I wish it was like in the beginning. Well, what did you feel as a woman in the beginning? You felt, does he like me? Does he love me? Does he want to be with me? Is he attracted to me? Does he think I'm beautiful? Is he happy he met me? Okay, this is going on all the time. It stimulates a lot of estrogen to feeling that vulnerable. Vulnerability is estrogen. So the way this exercise works is you end up doing it while you're making love many times, but you also practice outside the bedroom till you get it down, and you keep doing it outside the bedroom because it's a massive estrogen testosterone stimulator, which is the woman says, oh, well, first of all, let's do the reassurance exercise in the beginning. Then you don't have to say we're doing the exercise, but it's an exercise where she's coming from a place of, she's going to say, do you like me? And he's going to say, yes. Not like, why would you think that? Okay. You already know he has a script. She has a script. And you vary in it, but this is a basic script. Do you like me? Yes. Do you love me? Yes. How much do you love me? I love you with all my heart. Do you think I'm beautiful? Yes, I think you're beautiful. And for a man, that's where his testosterone starts to rise. Because the most vulnerable thing for a woman to say to her husband is, do you think I'm beautiful? Okay, see, the more she's vulnerable, the more his testosterone levels rises. If you're a fireman, if there's a fire, his testosterone goes up because everybody's in danger. It would be devastating to you to say, do you think I'm beautiful? And for him to say, well, you can get a little plastic surgery. You got a wrinkle over your left. So this is inducing a state of vulnerability where there's some danger. And he's going to always say the right thing. You follow the script, men. And it's going to be, do you like me? Yes. Do you love me? Yes. How much do you love me? With all my heart. Do you think I'm beautiful? Yes. Will you always love me? Yes. That means I'm committed. You can't really know the future, but this is romance here. Yes, I'm committed. And you just say, yes, I will always love you. Do you regret being with me? No, you're the one for me. Or you could do, am I the one for you? So you create your own variations of it, but his goal is 100% be there. Now, what's this? First of all, this helps her be vulnerable, helps him connect with your vulnerability, which allows him to feel more. If I was solving some problems on my computer and my wife said to me, do you love me? I'm going to say, well, yes. even knowing this, I say yes, but I'm not feeling it yet. I know I love her. That's data, that's information, but I'm not always feeling that love. And particularly for men, we need women to feel love more. This is because we have higher testosterone, and it's by connecting with a woman that estrogen goes up, and that's where we feel love, is when our testosterone is up and our estrogen is up. Women can feel love just by having their estrogen go up. We can't. It has, both hormones have to go up. And if I feel so much love, unconditional love, sometimes my testosterone will go down. That's one of my grandchildren. So I feel so much love with my grandchildren, I have to take a nap afterwards. I have to go to my cave and then rebuild my testosterone. But what women are to men is the doorway into our heart. And what a man does for a woman is the doorway into her heart. So this process is so perfect, because when I do it with my wife, and after a while, it's not as dazzling as it is in the beginning, but boy, when you do it when you're making love, that's already when his estrogen levels are up and he can feel it more. And that she can just, do you love me? Do you like me? Do you think I'm beautiful? So you bring conversation into it. And the more conversation, just those simple scripts, these are the basics of relationships. Do you love me? Yes, I love you. I always want to be with you. I'm only with you. Do you want anybody else? My wife says, do you want anybody else? No, honey, I only want you. You're the only one for me. So it's a place of insecurities to come up, to be reassured that you are loved. So that's the most powerful exercise I've ever come up with, but only can happen in monogamous relationship. The bottom line is, yes, I'll always be there for you, sweetheart. You're the only one for me. Now, how does that sound to you guys?
Oh, so good.
That's
A
good.
lot of good stuff to practice. If we can
Yeah.
get those estrogen levels up and testosterone levels up. And so
So let's let everybody experience this. If the two of you would, with my coaching here, just do the exercise. If she can start, you say, do you like me? Do you love me? Do you want to be with me? Am I beautiful? And just feel the energy as he just responds in a positive way.
Do you like me?
Yes, I do.
Do you love me?
Yes, I do.
Um,
With all my heart.
That's the next question. How much do you love me?
yeah, okay, that threw me off. How much do you love me?
With all my heart.
Do you think I'm beautiful?
Absolutely.
Do you feel the energy?
yeah.
Very powerful energy. So then now give a little hug, the sweetness of that. Now I know for her, she was a little embarrassed in front of other people saying that. So that was where the
Yeah, I
tough,
couldn't really. It's like
I know.
it's too it would be too
Too
much
personal,
to be
too
doing on
personal
camera.
in front of a computer. I get it, but you can see the
But
power.
Felt good to
the
me.
power is obviously there because the embarrassment is because there's something, happening that feels a
Yeah,
little too vulnerable.
but ironically, even your embarrassment didn't matter for him. He
Right.
felt it
Yeah.
Felt
because
good.
we as men can so easily detach, and you as women, and fulfilling things for women or little children, anybody who needs us, depends on us, helps us to feel more. And we all want to feel more, to feel alive. And that's what, your relationship can provide for you. And it's not the only way, it's one way. I know that having a pet can also open your heart. It's amazing, but if you love your pet, it will open your heart. It's very, very sweet. And then you can have children. Taking care of children can open your heart in many different ways. And particularly, I'm talking to men. It's something about little dogs you open your heart up to, little children you open your heart up to. It's when somebody is more depending on your strength and what you have to offer and your stability, then you get more testosterone because you're needed. Anyway, so I want to give that's a good biohack.
Yeah, we could definitely talk to you forever. This
I
was
know.
so
So
good.
hopefully we
Yeah.
can keep doing this because we have many more questions.
Keep up the amazing work, John. This was such
Yeah,
a
thank you, John.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So,
Is there any other way we can support you, or just
well, I'll tell you, there's two things you can do. One is my nutritional supplementation business. I used to have a health food store online. Right now, if you're interested in stabilizing mood, not everybody needs this, but if you have ups and downs and they're a bit too big,
yeah.
you can take a pill that within days you'll notice a dramatic difference. And it's something that's taken 40 years. I do it every day because I also know it's good for brain function. But just in terms of, you take something, so many things people take, they don't notice anything. But this is something that if you have ups and downs, you'll notice right away. And if your children have ups and downs, you'll notice right away. It becomes less extreme up and down. And it's called elemental orotates. It's on homepage, marsvenus.com. At the very top, it says men or women, elemental orotates. You push men or push woman. It will take you to Amazon, and then there's 5 pages of explaining what it is. But it has all these natural ingredients that will help stabilize your mood and allow you to feel more and help hormonal balance. So I love that one. I used to have 40 products I promoted. I got rid of all of them because other people promote it, but this is one nobody else does. And so you'll read all about it, but it works. You take 2 a day, and I've been doing it for 25 years. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And one of the ingredients in it, if you put brain cells in it, the brain cells actually begin to multiply. I just want my brain to keep growing instead of shrinking. That happens with age. But also I can have some ups and downs, some irritability, annoyance, and I'll take that and it's gone. So that's called elemental orotates, and you'll read all about the ingredients. Then at the bottom of the page is the thing that says contact us, and we provide a service of wellness coaching, which allows people to produce more energy, and if they're overweight, to lose weight. What I'm big on is after 35, we all start losing muscle mass, and muscle mass is what produces energy. You need the mitochondria in your muscles to produce energy. And we slowly start to lose our energy levels. We start to lose our muscle mass. And particularly for people that don't go to the gym, and a lot of people don't go to the gym or use their muscles, they're going to lose muscle mass. And in that loss, you're losing energy, you're losing brain focus, you're losing a lot. So a researcher discovered that you can do a super high protein diet, low calorie, high protein diet for a month, and you can lose 10 pounds and gain muscle mass. See, if you reduce your calories, your metabolism goes down. But this is a way to raise your metabolism and burn fat by producing high quality protein in your body. So this is a grass-free protein drink that's comes from cows, and it's a Nobel Prize that you can get these certain enzymes and it will digest protein. So another scientist figured out if you take the protein powder and you add enzymes to it, which is already in the mix, and then you put hot water, 100 degrees, warm water, 100 degrees, and you put the mix in there and let it sit for 45 minutes, it will digest itself. And you will get 3 times more protein out of it. Okay, this has been proven. So you don't have to eat huge amounts of protein. You just have to be able to assimilate the protein. And so it gets pre-digested for you. And one of the problems of being stressed in our life is we don't fully digest our food anyway. Even if you're not stressed, you're feeling great, you only get about 30% of the protein, the amino acids out of the protein. Well, with this mixture, because you pre-digest it with the enzymes, it goes into your system. It's been proven you get over 90% of the amino acids.
Wow.
So to do this as a reset for your brain, and if you got extra weight, this is January, people like to lose a little weight because we gain so much weight in the wintertime. It's wonderful. And if anybody's ever depressed, they stop feeling desire or motivation. The most powerful thing you can take way beyond any antidepressant, anything, is, and even my pill at the top of the page, is lose weight. Because when you're overweight, you're always wishing you weren't. And as soon as you start to lose weight, you feel in control. You feel excited. You feel motivated. It's one of the most exciting, powerful things that I've helped people with in order to sort of bring back the youthful energy, because you feel you're in control. Also in relationships, often we feel we can't get what we want. Now you have to focus on yourself. And if you have low energy, if you have overweight, lose 5 or 10 pounds and your energy level just shifts, because one is you're going to make more energy from the muscle mass, but 2 is that you have control over your body. Because when you have control over your body, you feel at ease and at peace. So that's another program we have. It's free. We tell you what products to buy in order to do this. We have, basically just how to build your muscle mass and lose weight by detoxification. So we have I have a coach. She works with me. Her name is Ellen. And if you go to the bottom of the page, you say, contact us. Something will come up and say, yes, I'd like to get some help with this. Put your phone number or your email. If you do your phone number, she can connect with you easier. and she'll describe the program to you and she'll coach you through it. It's amazing to have a coach to get you to do things that we often resist. Coaching is very powerful. All right, so that was two other things that we offer that are very helpful.
Great. And we're going to link everything down below,
Mhm.
including the courses that you talked about, all the supplements. So thank you, John, so
Thank
much
you
for
so
this.
much,
This
John.
is great.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks again. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy
Happy
New
New Year,
Year. We're
everybody.
sending love to everybody.
Bye, everybody. We love you. Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. We got to run to our next thing.